Hey Al, it's MJ. Is the founder of Art to Live and the author of a book called The Fearless Life Guide. I straight up legit truth. I was just behind me there practicing a handstand, and then oftentimes when I feel the vibe of doing like a handstand practice, sometimes it's just like there's no real rigidity to my practice. But I feel my body, and like then suddenly I'm doing a handstand and be like, oh yeah, that feels good, and I'll move around. And often like a bit of a playful handstand turns into like a little bit more of a formal yoga practice because my body needs to move, or actually might be getting my body ready for shavasana, which I also like to call adult nap time. Sometimes for 10 minutes, sometimes for a little bit longer. Anywho, so I'm like in headstand having an insight that's actually in my book about so step 11, which is the final step in the Fearless Life Guide, even though there's like some precursor steps. Step 11 is relaxation, R&R, rest and peace. And it never ceases to amaze me, like on my own path, how deep the relaxation goes and how much more as people, hey there, selective oddity, as people, as society, yada yada, like, and like all the teachers say it all the time, like, relax, like, rest in peace, and I'm done. For all spiritual teachers are Indian. You know this to be true. They're not. I just sometimes go into that. And it was the same for this guidebook. It was like, yeah, the only reason we do any of like the spiritual practice or the discipline or the meditation or the like hypnotherapy or like the drugs or the anything we do is like literally just to help us to be more at peace. Like, because the paradox of like living in peace is that like there's no resistance to anything, which means there's like no resistance. And I talk about this as well, about how we can like, in our broader awareness, it's like we want to be able to enfold the totality of who we are, which means accepting the total spectrum of all of our experiences, of all of our emotions, basically having this profound divine loving connection that like even the darkest, and even if it's not necessarily relevant to our lives, but even the human spectrum of existence and the horror and the tragedy, to be able to enfold even that stuff in love. So you imagine, as a loving being, like if you can fold the darkest atrocity of all of humanity and history and all of that, if you can enfold that in love, hello, right? then you, of course, you can be forgiven. You can love yourself in your paranoia or your ego or like, or whatever part of you think is like wrong or bad or conflicted, or that you should try to like run away from it or try to push it away or whatever, repress, suppress, oppress. Then that's creating conflict in your energy field, which is the resistance to just being at rest, right? Hey, Miss Kate, to being peaceful. And I guess it was how I don't know if you guys know a girl named Tara Stiles. She's the founder or co-founder. I'm not sure if she's a co-founder with her partner Mike, but I did training with them back in 2013, and it really uplifted my yoga practice and my yoga teaching and my like how Strala, thank you for actually saying it, because I don't know if I say it, Strala yoga. And I do consider that like my personal kind of yoga practice, because I so resonate with them as people, and the kind of evolution of yoga and like the ease and the groundedness of it, where I did a bit of Iyengar, I've done a fair amount of Kundalini, I did lots of Ashtanga, I did lots of Shivananda, right? And like I mean, one thing, and Tara and Mike do talk about this, but yoga in historical context is a male-dominated practice. So, like I just listed off, Patabi Joyce and Ashtanga, Shivananda and Divananda and Shivananda, and like these were all lineages passed down through men because women weren't allowed to practice, right? So Strala is like, good morning, Jennifer. Hey, what up, girlfriend? Funny, because I was like thinking about you a little bit, and so I'm glad you're here. And like she made that valid point of like part of the expansion of yoga and like things like vinyasa yoga it's just like a springboard because Western women have been practicing yoga for, I don't know, probably like a long time, but let's put it in some like 50-year framework or something, right? Hi, Mass, what up, girlfriend? So yeah, so like, I feel that my intuition almost like knew when I was like, so because some of us are aware like we have this inner knowing, right? And that's part of spiritual awakening, and that's all right, girl. Spiritual awakening, and like, sometimes we bump up against like the teachers or the traditions, and we're like, oh, something's not quite right, it doesn't quite gel. And that was kind of my journey with the yoga. I still had a lot of like pain, and like I was almost like using yoga for a while to like beat myself up more. I know that probably sounds really weird, but like, just like, if I didn't do a full primary series Ashtanga, I was a failure, and like every single day must practice every single day. And I literally remember just one day when I started to embrace more of the emotional work, literally feeling like I was bruising myself from doing like 2 back-to-back super intense power yoga. And like the next 2 days, my body just felt like so sticky and like bruised and sore. And it was like a 4-day spell of just like intense shame and guilt, doing all that work consciously. And it all started to shift. And then that would have been like around the time that I did the Strala training. And it just so was like the reflection I needed, right? Like the reflection of saying you're allowed to be you. And because I was moving in that direction, like wanting to take my yoga into, and it was anyway kind of just like flowing and like totally like just my own thing, and like people really enjoyed it, but it was almost like needing these people a little bit further along in their careers, or a little bit more kind of invested in the yoga industry as a whole, saying what they were saying and being who they were being. And like, she was one of those teachers who, like, when you meet in person, she's just exactly how she is in all of her yoga videos, and him too. Like, there's no veils, you could say. There's no agenda, and it was just really incredibly refreshing, and probably one of the first times in my life that I met like these people that I really admired, and that there could have been this weird like celebrity vibe, and there just wasn't. And it was just all about the feel good flow. It was all about the ease, like just move with ease. And I'm loving watching the Strala expansion because it's so grounded in its core and like expands out. Anywho, so Strala and meeting Tara and Mike and like going on that journey was a real expansion in my own yoga career. And then obviously at the same time giving myself permission to write my own spiritual method. Be like, what? I'm not quite resin exactly everywhere, and at the same time to completely put me personally like out of the equation. None of this is new, if you know what I'm saying. Like, when you read those books and you're like, like for me when I was 22 or 23, whatever I was, when I was like finally like, oh my god, I need yoga, otherwise I'm gonna die. When I'm reading these books, it was like activating parts of me being like, I know this, like it's not some ego arrogant thing. It's just like awakening this memory in you. Like some of the yoga kriyas, which are like abdominal energetic holdings and stuff, I just did when I was little. Plus the whole like meditation thing is kind of always a bit meditative and like compassionate and all that kind of stuff. So like, some of us aren't fitting into certain boxes. It's literally because we're a part of other boxes that have just kind of been forgotten, our collective programming, maybe in the last 2,000 years, 6,000 years, or it doesn't really matter the timeline or the time in a linear sense, because once we awaken to our broader aspect, linearity is not the same. It doesn't anchor us into some kind of enslavement pattern. We expand and merge with more of our spirit essence, more of the higher self or infinite self. And so linearity dissolves because you're merged with the awareness of your own patterns that you're desiring to break free from, right? So, and to make a long story of my always rambling on and on, it's that I'm doing a headstand. I'm like, yeah, like the juice of life is right there. And this isn't new or like special, but I do think it comes from a lot of us, like the heart of our desire to be more loving and feel into a better world. The emotional stuff is a really big piece. And then once we just get more harmonized at dealing with our patterns and owning up to all of our like different shades, and not trying to be one shade more than the other, and not trying to like manipulate or like get shit from people, eventually you just get into this total rested space. And And that's part of like, I guess why I just keep showing up for you, because I'm continuously amazed at the like the dropping in at like how what my life is, of like there's so like I can't even say to you like there's rigidity in any way. Like every day is just this like fluid experience of like, and now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing this. And that's when I was driving, getting that insight about linearity, and like that dissolves because you are merged with your cosmic self. You're vibrating more of the cosmos, so you're more in these kind of like infinite always cycles, right? Your story is super. Link to get book, lovely. I will put a link. Oh, I think there is a link in the description. Oh, yay. I did a post this morning about buy my book, help my company, have money for Christmas time, please. Yeah, it's modest like that, you guys. Like, and I think that's a part of new paradigm. Like remembering, don't judge a book by its cover, y'all. Like, just be, and like I'm witnessing that more. Okay, I've just gone off on a bit of a tangent, but I'll close right here because, you know, 'tis the season of consumerism and stress. And I want to de-stress all y'all and be like, guys, just relax. And like, look around your house. I bet there's some stuff that you could regift that like you probably haven't noticed for a while. And there's probably even stuff that you can just make, zero waste. And like something you make is probably like kinder. Or you could even give somebody like a little card being like, I'll give you 2 days worth of my enslavement, or like something like that. You know, give someone your time and energy and your love, rather than like just going out and buying stuff. And here's the thing about money and wealth and abundance: you literally can't judge books by a cover. Because in my reality, in my experience, in my world, I've hung out with peeps who are just love. I've hung out with peeps like straight up, not toot my own horn, but like literally some of the wealthiest people in the world worked with. And then like right up there in the bracket, like it astounds me as well. I'm like, hi, oh great. And like they're legit cool, awesome, whatevs. And I hang also with the poor. I dig on, like I've always been somebody who would just be like, what up? Why are you living on the street, buddy? Like, what's going on? Inherently, I've always felt like there's no need to judge, right? But what I discovered is that it like really, 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 really doesn't matter how much in like quantifiable terms somebody has. People's realities doesn't, in the way we might assume, dictate their abundance levels. Straight up. Because recognize everyone's in patterns, right? So like you never know when you're meeting someone in a pattern, in a cycle. You know what cycles do, right? We recycle. Which means just because someone's like got lots of stuff, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're vibrating what you might equate their wealth. Does that make sense to you guys? So what I'm saying is basically it's what every law of attraction teacher is always saying, or manifestation teacher, is just literally ignore the circumstances, right? Yes! Yes! Straight up, you guys. I just in my mind, I'm like, just still where you're here, I'm like, cha-ching! I sold 2 books! I've just made almost £5 royalty on those. Yes! Which, let's be honest, that's like sweetness, right? But there it is. There's the book. And like, relaxation is the juice of life. And let's just all face that we're in a cycle, but like ignore all of the circumstances. And like, it's legit. It's fine. It doesn't mean you're a horrible human if you bottom out financially. Like, if anything, if you bottom out, it means you're going to be going up at some point. So you might just be like, what? And that's the thing. That's the thing. Abundance is literally just your vibration. Of like, are you ready to give? Because that's, I think that for me, that's always been the thing of like, come on, people. Let's stop focusing on that money thing and just give of ourselves and trust and have faith and know that like everything we need is going to show up on next level, because that level, what we call old paradigm, limited perspective, non-heart connected to mind, is like dying slow death, kind of scrapping on for control and domination. But we're like, ping, hot vibration, and then like off we go. Guys, I love it when you're here because it ends up being like a little chat fest. So yeah, I think the description is all down there below, and I think I have some calls this weekend, which I'm really excited about. And I think that's everything, you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. Like bliss. This is gonna sound so ridiculous, but I'm like, I make myself laugh because I'm just like, like I definitely didn't feel this lifted before, but then I guess that's why we're here. It's because like when you guys are present, you you make my love heart vibrate, and I'm so thankful for you. So lift, uplift, sprinkle. Have a great day, you guys. Peace out. I love you.